Ladies and gentlemen, this presentation is brought to you by The Greatness Continues LLC. And you are now tuned into the greatest conversations, starring Greasy Teutons, Shaka the Wise, Sensei J, the Masked Man, Big Z, and your host, D. Jones. Once again, you are tuned into the greatest conversations.
Black on black crimes. Right. You're right. Let's not argue with the All Lives Matter people about black on black and all that shit, and just say you're right. All lives matter.
You want to talk to somebody with that?
Hey, let's let these niggas out of prison so they can rob your shit because all their lives matter.
I see what you're saying, but the whole premise, the major premise of Black Lives Matter started with specifically with Black lives being murdered by police. So
that's not like started.
Yeah, but that's where it blew up.
Yeah, recently, yeah.
That's where All Lives Matter came into play because their purpose was saying, well, white people get killed by police too. They're not saying all lives matter, blah blah.
Yeah, but you can't.
They're saying you can't
have a title like that. Though.
They're just saying specifically you can't just say.
No, they're talking about all lives matter.
Yeah, but also
that's why they're saying all. But they're trying to say, well, you can't. They're saying you got to include the white police.
Yeah, but his point is when you say all lives matter, all lives don't matter.
That's what I'm saying. All lives don't matter.
So but if you also say that black, you can't say can't just say black lives matter.
But you can if they would never like.
The reason they use the term black is specifically because black people were getting killed. By police.
That's what. But Black Lives Matter came because of that. All Lives Matter came second.
All Lives Matter came second because they're saying you can't just say only Black Lives Matter.
But that's not what we were saying.
Because other people are getting killed by police
but that's not what I'm saying. It doesn't say only
their counter to All Lives Matter was wrong the moment they stepped in the door to prove.
Yeah, it doesn't say. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't say only black, but that's why they came back and said all lives matter.
But
that was their.
That's exactly why their counter doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But they're not using it as saying every life matters, even the trees and blah blah blah.
They're talking about all white lives matter. That's what
they're saying. All. Yeah. They're trying to say all races. They're trying to say you guys can't single out black as a title being killed by police because police kill everybody. Other people kill everybody. But they're trying to say all races matter. But
if they truly believe that, instead of taking the avenue of that I just took, they could easily say
like if we change the title from Black Lives Matter to Stop Black police brutality.
But we tried that.
Then that would be a different. We
tried that. But I mean, you also got the people who All Lives Matter.
So I think it's just coming down to All Lives Matter, the titles and terminology more than actual.
You got Black Lives Matter, the corporation, who dubs on everything, right? And then you got the black people who actually feel like I need to take a stand for my life. My life, I'm black, so my life matters. I think black people should have said my life matters because there's no real rebuttal to my life matters. You know what I'm saying? Because you're talking about you individually and everybody can speak for themselves.
Yeah.
But I think
like CZ as an individual or not.
But Big Z thinks Black Lives Matter Corporation, who partners with Antifa, wanted to use the black people as a tool. Black people, it just makes sense off rip. Black Lives Matter. You're not gonna think twice about that because in your mind it's true. But you actually have the corporation Black Lives Matter telling you hashtag Black Lives Matter. So then you have two types of white people that are gonna get blended together. You got the radical people who are only thinking Black Lives Matter Corporation, and they're gonna fight that because of Antifa, and then the foot soldiers of Black Lives Matter, us, comic folk, are gonna fight them because in our mind you're fighting against our brain, you know. And they're like, we're not talking about you, we're talking about somebody else. And then you got the other All Lives Matter people who are trying to tell Black Lives Matter people that, hey, like, we're in this together, so my life matters and I'm not black. And then Black Lives Matter people are just like, well, then come over here. And it's like, yeah, but you're hurting me.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say. Like, they're seeing it more as like, you know, like, hey, I'm supporting you too, but, you know,
I'm not black.
I'm another individual, so include my race into it as well. And then we're trying to argue, well, the issue right now is that we specifically are getting targeted, so we need you guys to say that our lives matter, you know what I mean? So that's why I feel like it kind of goes down to, like you're saying, like in like the title and the terminology of it, because if, you know, if we were just to say, like, his life mattered, regardless of whether or not, you know, he was black, like, he was a human being. Mm-hmm. He shouldn't have even seen his color, you know what I mean? Like, all this stuff, like, we should be valued as an equal human, you know what I mean?
That's bullshit. But the problem too, I see that with people too, as far as like who like come from money and like in a different class, like they don't understand certain struggles. And I know I say that, like, everybody like, yeah, that makes sense, that don't make sense. But the thing I'm thinking about is like when you like placed in a terrible situation, you're not thinking about like morality. You're thinking about like survival.
Exactly.
And the problem that I see, like, that's why a lot of times people, like, they get older, they get out of that mindset, they might think about morality and get back to the hood or teach younger people so they don't end up like them. But people always judge people who've been like, why you make those decisions? But you gotta look at the choices that was presented to them. And I think that's why, like, I feel like it's weird when, if you take this into context, the All Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter thing, because you looking at it from the outside in and saying all lives matter, but it's like, how can you really say that if you don't really understand the struggles that they've been through?
Yeah, but 2020, that was all just like a ploy for a higher class citizen. I mean, that started the new Jim Crow. That's the new Jim Crow.
Bro, been happening before that, bro.
Like everybody's equal, but we're not really equal. And then we're also separate. It's the new separate buddy.
If you were to take the phrase "all lives matter" and actually put it into something where it meant something of good, then you would be considering the fact that, like, Asian people are going through hate crimes and, you know, there's going on overseas, like crazy shit happening to all types of people of color. You know what I mean? So that's, to me, what it would mean to use a phrase like that to actually have any type of, like, weight to it. But the other side, I don't think was really using it that way. Really? Do you know what I mean? I think they were just using it more like, well, I do too. You know, it was like a rebuttal, like he was saying. It was just you know, like, well, right now,
special treatment.
Yeah, right now, you guys, why?
Because
why you? You know, why?
I heard an interesting take on, like, racism. This guy was like, he was like, let's say you know, there's a guy who supports black people. Right? There's a white guy.
Cops are important too. They're getting killed.
But his son doesn't understand.
You know, it was just
his son's growing up. He's seeing, like, African Americans
kind of like mockery,
just do stuff and fight over everything. And the son, you know, kids have like a basic right or wrong understanding. There is no gray area for them for the most part. So the dad's like, hey, you know, black people are being treated unfairly because slavery, blah blah blah. They're mad. And the son's like, I get it. You know, but that was a long time ago because kids don't have a concept of time like we do, you know? And so a riot breaks out and they set a building on fire, right? And the police and the fire department is trying to get to this building and that kid's mom is in the building. And the kid's like, hey, you know, let the police through so they can save my mom. But Black Lives Matter is like, the police, y'all not getting through this. The building bursts down, his mom dies. What do you think that kid, because he's the new generation of people that we're trying to convince not to be racist, what is his perception of Black Lives Matter going to be 10, 15 years from that incident?
Mm-hmm. That's a weird example.
No, but like, because that same stuff happened to a lot of black people on the flip end when the government and shit was like kicking people off their homes. You know, kids would leave their mom, and they'll come home, and people would be out just straight bacon, and then they get this mindset of like, you know.
That kind of goes.
Yeah, but if the building's on fire, why would Black Lives Matter protesters stop the police from getting to the burning building?
Because they did.
This happened? Yeah. This is a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that ties into the whole.
I need to read that.
The whole concept.
Where did this
just like the y'all hear about like the
because there was protesters.
Somebody on TV and he was like off duty cop and he tried to stop them from the TV and they shot him.
No, I ain't
He's
heard
like, he's a
that.
black cop.
I
But
ain't
that's
heard
because
that.
like a lot of us, we follow certain news stations that won't talk about it. But it's like
that ties into the concept of like a bad, one bad seed.
yeah, exactly.
Because even during that whole protest, like we weren't all really out there like busting out glass and spray painting. A lot of that wasn't even protesters. It was just random people
It
running
was
around.
anarchists.
Yeah, doing like that.
Taking advantage of
Yeah, but then we all of a sudden got marked as.
What's these cities where these events took place? I need to read up on these.
That's a tough.
That's homework for you.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, you could honestly start with California.
You know what's crazy
Just
though?
look at LA.
Yeah.
You guys about to have
LA.
kids and being like, I was out there when that was happening.
Yeah.
They gonna ask you about it.
I wasn't out there.
Yeah, Big Z wasn't out there.
No, when I get kids, I want
Was you out there?
No,
I went down there.
but
Yeah. What's wrong with y'all? Y'all ain't fight for the cause?
Nah.
no.
I went down there and filmed. I actually got a
I
whole
already got how big
segment.
Z is, bro. We just had a discussion on my All Lives Matter tape. When we talk about Black Lives,
I think it's funny how we all just talked about. Well, y'all talked about Black Lives Matter, and then he asked, y'all go out there. Y'all said nah.
because Big Z
Y'all had all that to say.
I was there.
What was going out there have done?
I went out there
You gotta see what's happening first.
I went out there to
For what?
personally see what they
the
had
media's
to
gonna spin it
say.
any way they want to.
Right.
But if
No,
you know the
that's
truth,
why I
that's the
went.
point.
I went there to see what they had to say specifically.
Yeah, if you know the truth.
And when I listened to what they had to say, that's when I knew that nothing was
but
going to change anytime soon.
I wasn't trying to go out there and get maced. Like, why would I do that?
I wasn't trying to get maced too, neither. That's why I didn't get maced.
Yeah, but like literally, the majority of protests for Black Lives Matter during that summer were maced out. So I'm like,
I think it just
cool on
depends.
And
Like,
it's
I mean,
unnecessary.
I was trying to get sprayed with hoses back then.
they did it for his ass to sit in the front of the bus.
And a lot of people didn't protest because of that.
Right? They
Yeah,
had a
we're not gonna sit-
they had a whole boondocks
We're not gonna
episode
sit
about
here and make it seem
that. He wasn't there.
every black person was
Back
down
to
there in Montgomery, Alabama.
Big
getting
Z-
sprayed
the
with
reason why Big Z
Nah.
didn't go out there is because Big Z felt like the movement was just a puppet show.
See,
And
that's why.
that's why Big Z didn't go out there, because I'm not
Well,
gonna be a puppet.
Remind me of that movie, bro, when he said more people resonate with William O'Neill than Fred Hampton.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
different.
That's how I feel because
That's why I went down there, because there was that, like the couple days I went, they did this whole thing where all the cops, got down on their knees and they knelt with us for a little bit. I filmed it and everything. But you could tell, like you could watch everything go down and see that it was all orchestrated. Like
Yeah.
after so many days, they were getting annoyed of being there. Somebody finally came out. They sent an officer out to the crowd, in the middle of the crowd, and I ran up there and was like, listening to the whole conversation. And all he was talking about was like, oh, we got new policies and procedures that were about to unfold, and thinking that, people are going to be like, yeah. But yeah, me and like some other people like, what policy? Tell us what it is. Well, there's going to be more training. Like, okay. What does that train like? You tell us these things all the time. So, what does this training consist of?
Right.
And they couldn't answer any of these questions. So
Yeah, no.
by the end of that conversation, everybody nearby was like,
Getting hostile.
"You're wasting our time, bro. Like, get out of here."
Hey,
Pretty much, like, go.
Who's the one person on the ballot that we can't change?
You said what?
Who's the one person on the ballot that's on the ballot to vote for, but never has a competitor? We can't change.
Chief Plea.
Yep, chief of police.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what about to say though?
He's
Because
disappointed, right?
Yep, he's appointed. So if you hate the way the cops are treating you, you can't. There's literally nothing you can do. The people who appoint him are literally the people that, surprisingly, like in the House, you gotta vote them out. But we don't vote them out, so you gonna have the same chief of police every year.
Like
See,
they even
Right,
did a
that's,
whole.
That's where I didn't go down there in March, but I definitely did my civic duty and I voted in like all the major polls
Yeah.
election this past year. So like that, I feel like that had a more in my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, you can talk about me however you want, but in Jay's mind, going out and voting at the polls was a lot more effective than going out and marching and possibly getting maced and like that.
Yeah, extra.
my thing is, see, I don't see. When I went down there, I tried to like analyze stuff. I don't think that
Yeah,
you need to go on there and be rowdy. The problem is, I think with a lot of people who have this stress in America, they go.